Hey loves, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I'm here to remind you that there is no problem that could ever come in between you and your specific person. So any issue you feel is kind of in your way, kind of like the video I posted previously, there's no problem that could ever exist between you and your state and you going to get your specific person. And today we're going to talk about actually an idea that comes from Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, and is actually a metaphor from the Bible that makes a lot of sense. And if you can keep this or keep reminding yourself of this throughout the day, every single day, anytime you come into what you feel is a problem between you getting your specific person, it's going to completely eliminate it. And it's literally so easy. If you remind yourself of this, you're going to eliminate any problem you feel is in between you and your specific person, basically destroying any circumstance that you feel is blocking you from receiving what you want. Now, I know in the past or previously we talked about the idea of don't condition your desire, and this is a little bit different from that. So Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy would discuss, they always use the Bible as a metaphor for manifestation. And I absolutely love this idea. And it's the basis in which I came about into manifestation. But they talk about the idea of your higher self or your God state, right? And there's a quote in the Bible that mentions, I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than me, or something along those lines. But the or the point of this metaphor, this quote, is to remember that you are in direct connection with the God state, with your higher self, with your subconscious, with your universe, whatever it is that you want to call it, but you are in direct connection to this God power. So we are just in our human body, right? In the same way that Jesus had the connection to his God self, or God in that case, he was again shown that you have the power within you all the time, because again, I and my Father are one, right? So in this case, anytime we feel or perceive a problem, it doesn't make sense to your God state, higher self, subconscious, whatever you want to call it, because this is where the metaphor or the idea comes in that's going to blow your mind. Think about your God state, or God, or your higher self, whatever you want to think about it. Think of if they ever have a problem. So think about God. Does God ever have or encounter any problems? And you'd be like, well, no, right? Because if God encountered problems, then who would solve them? Who would be able to actually solve those problems? If God had a problem and God is all powerful, who's going to solve that? And that's the same thing as you, because remember, I and my Father are one. So you have access to all of that power. It's just because we're in our human form or state, or we're in this 3D reality, that we are confused and feel and perceive problems happening outside of us. But remember, these are all illusions. There are no problems. The only problems we are perceiving is because we're not thinking from an abundant state. In the same way that I mentioned in the previous video about conditioning your desire, there is going to be a trillion and a billion different ways for you to get from where you're at to where you want to go. So anytime you begin to encounter a problem, remember, your God state, your higher self, problems don't exist. That doesn't make sense. Manifestation is always in the positive, bringing stuff to you. There's no problems. If we perceive one, it's just bringing that in, because that's what we are assuming to be in our reality. So think about any manifestation that you've ever had, ever manifested, or want to manifest. You already have, like I've said a billion times before, you have that within you right now. To feel as if you have to go and get it doesn't make sense. So how could there ever be a problem in between you and your manifestation? And when I learned this, it was I don't want to say it was a huge game changer, but it really was. Approaching your manifestation in this way makes you feel so powerful, and it makes the manifestation so much easier, and helps with the idea. I keep referring to the previous video, so if you haven't watched it, check it out. It helps with that idea of not conditioning your desire. Because as we condition, as we create or are in awareness of problems, those are the only reasons that it kind of happens. Because we always perceive we're at a point in time and we need to get to our manifestation. And we think, then assume that there's going to be problems or things we have to encounter or overcome along the way. But why can't it come into reality tomorrow? Right now, I love reminding you guys of this, because who is saying that your specific person cannot text you, call you, come into your life, come into your reality tomorrow? Because you've seen, I don't know if I show a lot of the success stories here, but in my TikTok, I have a bunch of success stories that I like to show about like next day manifestation. Yeah, I've talked about a few different next day manifestations on this channel, specifically the idea of journaling. But who is saying that that can't happen tomorrow? Because it has happened to loads and loads of other people. So when you see those positive success stories, I always want you to remember, if they can do it, you can do it too. Everyone is a reflection of your internal state. If you see someone do something outside of you, that's a reflection of you, and it means you can also do that thing, whatever it is. So I've seen people manifest. I've had manifestations come the next day, and you can too. And I guarantee you, if you look in your past, you think about it, because everything is a manifestation, I guarantee you have manifested things instantly. You just maybe weren't aware of it at the moment. But really get into that state. Remember, God has no problems. Anytime you encounter a problem or think, how am I going to do this? Think, God has no problems. Anytime you try to set circumstances or try to condition your desire, God has no problems. Who would solve that? If there's a problem that you need to overcome and solve it, your God state has access to unlimited knowledge and limited power. So you do too. Remember, I and my Father are one. So it's like, in that case, there's no problems. Just take it back, relax, call me anytime you see or feel like there's something in your way. We just need to get into that abundant state again. And I really like this idea, because anytime I feel like I'm encountering a problem and I remember God has no problems, it instantly switches my state. I instantly move into a more abundant and prosperous state, because I then get kind of triggered into this abundant thinking, because I'm like, oh yeah, there are no problems. There's a billion and infinite trillion different ways to get from this point around whatever I'm perceiving as a problem and then into my end state. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what, you can have your manifestation. Right now, I even want you to take a look at the things you think are limiting you at this current moment. And I kind of did this with my previous video, but I want you to do this with the idea of like problems, like the idea that your specific person can't come tomorrow because they don't want to, or anything like that, or you want to make $1 million in a month and you're like, yeah, but I have to start a business or do this or that. No, there's no problems. God does not have problems. You do not have problems. There are only solutions. Like I kind of touched on this subject, but manifestation, remember, is always in the positive. You're always bringing to you something. You're conscious of something, it's brought. So when you think of something that is, or when you're feeling lonely, it's not that you're pushing away love, it's that you're bringing or in the assumption of loneliness. So that idea has helped me, and hopefully it helps you as well, to think about our states and what we're assuming. Because again, if nothing's being taken away, we're not pushing anything away, nothing's separate from us ever. There's no problem to get what you want because you already have it within you. And if you can imagine, then you're always bringing what you want to you. So if you're conscious of poverty, you're poverty stricken. You're not pushing away wealth, you're bringing in the poverty, or you're exhibiting from yourself that poverty state. But you can do the same thing with the wealth state. You're bringing about the wealth. You're not pushing away poverty, bringing about wealth. And thinking of it in the positive helps me, because it always feels like in the opposite, it feels like things become fleeting. Because if you feel like you're pushing away money or whatever, love or passion, whatever it is, you feel like you have to chase it. But if you think from the state of bringing it in or exhibiting it out from yourself, then it becomes much easier. And you then begin to focus more on your internal state than anything else. If you guys did have any questions on it, make sure to leave it in the comment section below. Remember, you can also reach out to me on my website if you want to send me a personal message or you wanted to reach out for one-on-one coaching. Head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. Remember to leave a thumbs up on this video and then don't forget to subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.